Hey up, from Tom here. Today we're going to investigate communities in video games. I see a lot of negative press for video games and gamers, and hear a lot of negative opinions about how gaming is a waste of time and isolates people, which is nonsense I think, quite the opposite. There is a discussion to be had here about the phasing out of split-screen multiplayer. I remember inviting friends round on a Friday night after college to get pizzas in and co-op Gears of War or play a World Cup on Pro Evo. You can still do the latter, but couch co-op is on the way out for sure, and that makes me sad. But what makes me unsad, anti-frown, or negative, is that communities around video games are stronger than ever. Reddit is definitely the main player when it comes to connecting like-minded gamers, but GameFAQs and all the wikis play their roles as well. Not too long ago, when you were stuck on Metal Gear Solid, not knowing about calling Meryl from the codec number on the back of the box, or that you needed to grenade Raven features in his tank, your options were to buy a guide to the game, hope there were some tips in a magazine, or call up your friend on a landline, ask him to fire up his dial-up modem, which charged by the minute by the way, to spend 5 minutes loading up a page of GameFAQs, and come back to you with, not sure about the tank guy, but if you give in to torture, Meryl does die, but you get stealth camouflage on your next playthrough. Which is all well and good and got people talking at school about how to go about beating a game. So game communities back then were very localised, and each school or area would have its own quirks, folklore and rumours for whichever games were popular at the time. Like which combo scored you the highest points in Tony Hawk's, and if you got all the secret tapes in under 30 minutes, Rodney Mullen would manual through your TV and give you a very, very nice hat. And then came broadband, and it got really popular really quick, like Sonic quick but without the rings. People were able to discuss their favourite games to their heart's content with no pay-per-minute bills for the folks and no getting cut off whenever your mum's friend called her for a natter. GameFAQs was king, and online communities grew like wildfire. Now, not only could you talk to Luke who was sat next to you in law, yeah, I took law at GCSE and no, it did not go well, but you could also talk to Josh from California or Steve from everywhere. Between you, you could call Meryl on the codec, get her to open the door, smoke yourself to death to see the laser alarms, and blow old Raven chops to smithereens. Things were fan-dabby-dozy, and kids and young adults were beating games left and right. Speedruns were gaining popularity even. Then came the ubiquitous rise of gaming on YouTube, and that changed the rules once more. Now, as well as talking to Luke, when you should have been working on case law coursework, or talking to Josh and Steve on MSN Messenger, when you should have been researching your case law coursework, you could fire up a YouTube video which showed you how to do exactly what you needed to do to finish the campaign in Command & Conquer on hard, or told you where all the secret items in Vice City were at. Goddamn hidden packages, man. Wait a second though, hold up, maybe all this was too much even. We went from a small local group of friends to the whole G-dang world in about 5 years. There wasn't a game you couldn't easily beat, and for every challenge there was a huge global community ready to take it on. Had games lost some of their intrigue and mystery because of this insane connection of the player base? Maybe. Yes. I'm going to say yes, because it really helps the narrative of this video. So, enter Dark Souls. Yeah, the game that I always talk about. First game I played on the channel. Quite possibly my favourite game of the past 3 years or so. Sue me. Hidetaka Miyazaki, its creator, had this crazy idea for a game which followed the success of Demon's Souls. Demon's Souls had similar elements, but it wasn't as calculated in the way that it gripped its community like a vice. The idea is, you make certain elements of the game so obtuse and difficult to find that the only way you can beat the game and follow all of the NPC's quests, or characters for any non-gamers, is by seeking help from other people playing the game. This was kind of facilitated by the in-game mechanic of being able to leave messages on the floor that any other player who was playing online could read. Messages led to hidden walls or hinted at the location of items necessary to beat up to the boss, or even just to stay alive in an area. It's flat out an area in Dark Souls that kills you if you don't have a ring equipped that you get from beating a giant wolf. Yeah, Dark Souls things. The messaging system is a great idea, but the real engine that drove the Dark Souls hype train was Reddit and the Dark Souls wiki. People came together from all around the world trying to beat this impossible riddle wrapped in an enigma sellotaped to the back of a mystery riding a turtle of befuddlement. And it made Dark Souls so popular that I, someone who avoids the general media and advertising as much as humanly possible, was made aware of the game years after release by word of mouth. A friend recommended it to me as someone has recommended it to him, and so on and so forth. Everything about the game was a mystery though, not just the mechanics. The lore and backstory is told through cryptic descriptions on items you pick up in the world, and the NPCs quite often lie to you about the state of the world or the people in it. This added a huge draw on players to get in touch with one another to try to piece together just what was rotten in the state of Lordran. And just like that, it felt like you were back in the schoolyard swapping theories and rumours about what exactly made the world tick, and wondering if it's possible to one-shot a tricky boss by stacking weapon and item buffs, which in most cases, it is absolutely possible, but not without a lot of help from the community trying out every possible combination of items and spells. So Miyazaki had achieved in one game what an entire generation of AAA titles were missing due to having to make their games accessible to all, whilst battling against every other franchise for their players' shortening attention spans. You can see the effect Dark Souls has had on gaming by the slew of copycats and Souls-likes that attempt to do the same thing with varying degrees of success. But as well as that, it just sent out a message to publishers that gamers still wanted challenges to overcome and mysteries to solve. Tough games were back, and the only losers were the poor controllers and keyboards, getting thrown at the wall on your 50th attempt at trying to defeat Orphan of Kos in Bloodborne. What I'm getting at here though is that gamers, just like other communities, are full of helpful people who are earnestly passionate about something they're doing in their free time out of joy and love. And that's just damn beautiful, man. It's enough to bring a tear to the old peepers. And the idea of experimenting with community in games is still alive and well. Enter Death Stranding. Love it or hate it. I really love it, by the way. It took the messages mechanic from Dark Souls and put it on steroids. So in the world of Death Stranding, your job is to connect up what's left of the people of America after a huge cataclysmic disaster known as, you've guessed it, the Stranding. It boils down to, the rain has more acid than your average chemistry lab and burns everything in sight, including Norman Reedus' precious skin. And the dead are now manifest in the world as BTs, or beach things, ready to drag you off to some weird tar-soaked hell if you get too close to them, or the strands that attach them to the ground. Yeah, Death Stranding things. So in order to connect the remnants of humanity, you have to deliver packages from A to B, B back to A, then through the whole alphabet and back whilst avoiding rain, BTs, and another group of humans called mules, who are ex-delivery men gone half crazy with package lust, and they just want to steal all your precious yellow crates. Also, the terrain is a nightmare, and balancing cargo is like a never-ending game of Jenga on a helicopter. Sound good? Still want to play? Well, you should, because the story is amazing. Insane, in a very Hideo Kojima way, but still amazing, and the game just looks out of this world. But what about the community aspect and the Dark Souls message-style gameplay on performance-enhancing drugs? Yeah, I'm just about there. So, the places that you have to deliver to are all cut off from each other, and the terrain between them is pretty treacherous. As you progress through the game, you unlock gear gradually that allows you to navigate the beautiful environment more easily. Sheer drop, use a climbing anchor. Deep water, drop down a cheeky ladder or even lay the foundation for a bridge. Long journey back, build a bike or a truck, etc. The amazing thing is, everything that you leave in the world that helps you has a chance of spawning in another player's world. Once you connect a new facility or a knot, a whole ton of other players' bridges, shelters, and all that good stuff pops up in your world. Lo and behold, on your journey back through the explored territory, the journey is a breeze compared to before. But it doesn't end there. Other players can like the items that you place, and even upgrade the structures that you leave. All of the likes and upgrades attract to your profile and you get a higher score for more likes, upgrading other players' structures, and so on. The higher your score, the more things you can unlock to make your journey even easier. And then you get to another stage where you're trying to increase your score to qualify for certain missions and things like that. And so you're thinking about, where can I place this structure that will most help other people that are going through this area. It's an incredible system, and by the end of the game you truly feel like it's not you who is beating the game, but a whole legion of gamers across the world. Hideo said that when he was first imagining the game, he wanted introverted people who thought themselves to be isolated to be aware of the millions of like-minded people across the world who are in the same boat, and it really worked. I swear that when I went back to a structure I had placed and it was all upgraded and had thousands of likes, it gave me a warm fuzzy feeling that I hadn't found in many social interactions, let alone games or other media. I don't say it lightly, but Dark Souls and Death Stranding were such immersive, community-driven games that playing each of them made me see the real world from a new perspective, and I'm sure there are hundreds of other experiences that have done the same for others. So what's the point with this video? What am I getting at? Well, I hope that through looking at these two games, and a bit of the history behind how we got to where we are today, I've shed a little bit of light on some more positive aspects of being a gamer in this day and age, and more specifically being part of a gaming community. At a time when a whole bunch of people might be feeling alone or forgotten about with this whole thing going on, I think it's super important to remember that even though we might not be able to meet up and communicate like we could before, there's a whole avalanche of technology that's been allowing us to connect in different ways for a long time now. And for all the scaremongering around this technology, I believe it's a net positive effect on humanity as a whole. Boundaries are torn down, people from all corners of the globe are connected, and friends are made in ways our parents couldn't have even imagined when they were young. These things might not be a substitute for face-to-face conversation or anything, but that's not the point. It's just different, it's just extra. And if you're like me, I need to have a good chunk of escapism to function normally anyway. Social interactions take a lot out of me, and there are many introverts that are exactly the same. It's fine if you want to shut the door to the world when you get home after work and get lost in an awesome game world, or engross in the pages of a good book, or switch off to some television show. Some decompression goes a long way to relaxing the mind and dealing with stress and anxiety. But getting lost in a game world can also mean joining a new community, one that you interact with on your own terms, and don't have to deal with the awkwardness of being in a loud, obnoxious public setting, which is supposed to be everyone's idea of good time, according to some extroverts anyway. Not that that's wrong, again, just different strokes for different folks. I've always pushed back against what's considered normal. It just doesn't seem as interesting to me as who the heck is Solaire and why is he so mad about the sun. I only wish I could be as incandescent as he. So leave gamers alone the news. We're not a problem, just passionate people doing what we enjoy. And as always, thanks. No wait, that's Vsauce. So punch the like. No wait, that's Jacksepticeye. Ta very much. In a bit.